These aren't scripted. These aren't dramatized for TV. These are 4 things regular people lived through, told in their own words. Before you watch, if you work a night job, drive for a living, or travel alone, pay attention to story 3. It's the one people say they think about every single shift after.
I'd been driving for a delivery app for about 8 months at that point, mostly nights, because the pay bump after 10 p.m. made it worth it. I'm 24, I live alone, and my schedule was basically backwards from everyone I knew. Up all night, asleep by 9 a.m. It was a Tuesday, dead quiet, maybe 3 orders in 2 hours. Then I get one that's flagged, leave at door, do not knock, which isn't unusual. People do that all the time. The address was a duplex. One of those older houses split into 2 units at the very end of a street with no streetlights for the last 100 feet or so.
I pull up and something about the place just felt off. Before I even got out of the car, every light in the house was off except for one window on the second floor, and the curtain in that window was moving. Not blowing, moving, like someone had just stepped back from it. I told myself it was nothing. I grabbed the bag, walked up, set it down, and as I turned to walk back to my car, I heard the front door unlock behind me. Not open, just unlock. That click. I didn't turn around. I just walked faster. I got in my car, and as I was pulling out, the porch light snapped on, and the door opened maybe 2 inches. Nobody came out. It just sat there, open a crack, light spilling onto the empty porch where the bag still was.
I called it into a friend on speaker while I drove to my next order, half laughing about it, because I didn't want to admit how much it had actually rattled me. About 20 minutes later, I got a notification. The customer had rated the delivery 1 star and left a comment. It said, "You shouldn't have looked at the window." I never delivered to that address again. I checked. The account got deactivated about a week later for suspicious activity, whatever that means. I still don't know what I would have seen if I turned around when that door unlocked. And honestly, I'm glad I don't.
I worked the overnight front desk at a mid-range hotel off the highway for almost 2 years. Overnight hotel work is strange. You get truckers, you get people running from something, you get families who miss their flight. You learn not to ask questions. One winter night, a man checked in alone around 1 a.m. No bags, paid cash for one night, room 114, which was on the ground floor near the ice machine. He didn't say much, just took his key and left. I didn't think about him again until around 3:30, when the phone at the front desk rang from an internal line, room 114. I picked up. Nobody spoke. I could hear breathing, very faintly, what sounded like someone else in the background. A second voice, low, like they were trying not to be heard. I said hello twice. The line went dead.
Hotel policy is you don't ignore a call like that. So I walked down to check on the room. As I got close, I could see light coming from under the door, and I could hear the TV was on. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again and identified myself as staff. Still nothing, but the TV cut off mid-knock. I used my master key to crack the door, just enough to call in, and the room was empty. Bed made, nothing touched, bathroom light off, except the deadbolt was thrown from the inside, and the window, which didn't open from outside, was unlocked. I called my manager. We checked the cameras, and the footage from the hallway showed the man walking to his room at 1:05 a.m. and never leaving. There's no other way out of that room. He was there. And then the tape shows the door, and nothing ever comes out of it again. But the room was empty when I opened it. We never got an explanation. The name and card he used to check in were fake. I put in my 2 weeks about a month after that, and I still don't drive past that hotel if I can help it.
My boyfriend and I used to go camping a few times a year, always at the same state park because it was cheap and close. This one September, we got there later than planned, maybe 9 p.m., and most of the good sites near the entrance were already full. We ended up at Site 22, which was tucked back near the tree line, more isolated than we usually liked, but we were tired and it was already dark. We got the tent up, had a small fire, and were about to head in when I noticed a truck parked on the access road behind our site. Not in a site, just parked on the road, engine off, lights off. I figured it was someone checking on a site further back and didn't think much of it.
Around midnight, I woke up because the fire had gone from crackling to completely silent, and I realized it was because someone had put it out. Not burned down, put out, like water had been poured on it, because I could smell the wet ash. My boyfriend was still asleep. I didn't wake him yet because I told myself an animal could have done it, or the wind, even though there was no wind. Then I heard footsteps circling the tent, slow, deliberate, stopping every few seconds like they were listening for movement inside. I woke my boyfriend by putting my hand over his mouth and pointing at the tent wall.
We stayed frozen for what felt like 20 minutes. The footsteps stopped near the truck. We heard the driver's door open and close, but the engine never started. It just sat there in the dark, less than 50 feet from our tent for the rest of the night. At first light, we packed up as fast as we've ever packed anything in our lives. The truck was gone. When we told the ranger at the entrance, he got quiet and asked us to describe the truck in detail. He said it matched the description of a vehicle they'd been told to watch for after 2 other groups reported almost the exact same thing at different sites that same month. We haven't been back to that park since. And I still don't know what would have happened if that tent wall had been the only thing between
Us and whoever was circling it. I used to drive for a rideshare app on weekend nights for extra money. Around 2 a.m. one Saturday, I got a request from a gas station a few miles out of town. One of those 24-hour ones on a stretch of road with almost nothing else around. When I pulled in, I didn't see anyone waiting outside like riders usually are. I texted through the app that I'd arrived. A minute later, someone finally walked out from behind the building, not from inside the store, and got in the back seat without a word.
I said hi, confirmed the name on the account, and started driving. In the rear view, I could see the passenger wasn't looking at their phone or out the window. They were looking directly at the back of my headrest, at the spot right behind my head the whole ride. About 10 minutes in, I tried making small talk, and they didn't answer. Not rude, just silent, still staring at that same spot. I turned the radio up to fill the quiet, and I noticed in the mirror that their lips were moving slightly, like they were talking to themselves or to someone else.
When we got to the drop-off, a completely dark residential street, they got out, didn't say thanks, and just stood on the curb watching my car as I pulled away. I checked the app after to see the trip summary, and the account had been created that same night with no profile photo and no ride history. I don't do late gas station pickups anymore unless there's someone else outside waiting with them. I never found out who that was or why they were watching that spot behind my head the whole ride. And some nights, when I'm driving alone, I still catch myself checking.
If any of these hit close to home, or you've had something like this happen on a night shift or a late drive, tell us in the comments. We read every one, and some of the best stories in this series have come from you. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.